boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Okay, so Matchroom Boxing alleged that Boxer and Sky Sports persuaded Joshua Buatsi to unlawfully abandon his exclusive promotional contract with them. The move was a subject of a £7.7 million court battle, which reached a settlement earlier this year. Buatsi made the move in 2023 from Matchroom to Boxer. Buatsi left Matchroom, left behind a world title fight, wouldn't sign a contract for the fight against Bivol, said a lot of disparaging things about the DAZN platform, and now he's on DAZN. He's signing with Frank Warren.
And then the obvious question is for you, what is next? Like promotion? Are you still with Boxer? What's the situation there?
I'm a free agent, but as I said, we got some news coming up, and I think it won't be too long. And wish I could tell you, but we gotta wait a little bit.
That was Buatsi talking to Boxing King Media a week and a half ago at Usyk versus Dubois. A lot can happen in a week and a half, and here we are. We're still awaiting Ben Shalom to make this big announcement for the new platform for Boxer. And you're wondering, is the Exodus about to follow? Exodus! The likes of Fraser Clark, Ben Whittaker, Caroline Dubois. Eubank isn't signed to Boxer, he has a partnership. I don't see Eubank signing with Eddie or Frank Warren. After what he said, he'll probably be a free agent until he retires. Adam Azim. I could see Adam Azim going to Queensbury. Frank Warren has always worked well with the Asian fighters, from Prince Nassim to Amir Khan. He's got Hamza Shiraz there.
And a lot of people are asking about when I'm next.
Tell Ben to hurry up or you'll be with Frank soon. An awkward silence there. But listen,
you never know, you might be right. So,
That's how Adam Azim responded to Hamza Shiraz when they were talking to Des Sani just the other week at Wembley. Adam Azim was supposed to fight on that last Callum Walsh card. They tried to get him on there 2 days before the event, desperate. But the British Boxing Board of Control rejected the opponent. And you would have to imagine that Adam Azim must be pretty frustrated right now. Now, I watched a video on TalkSport, and where Ben may have some issues retaining a lot of these fighters is if they signed with Boxer to fight on Sky, but now Sky are not renewing the contract, Ben won't be able to deliver the fighters the Sky platform, and that could be a loophole to get out of the contract, while Ben is trying to secure this new platform. One potential platform that has been mentioned is the BBC iPlayer. You see, you got the Sounds on Channel 5, but that's terrestrial television, which you could get on Freeview. The BBC iPlayer you can either get on the internet or you need a smart TV. How many people have smart TVs in the UK? I'm willing to bet most houses still have Freeview. Big up Last Bell Boxing. As Dave was saying, are the BBC going to pay up the rights fees for big title fights on the BBC iPlayer? I mean, this isn't BBC One or BBC Two. This is the iPlayer. iPlayer content is non-subscription. And without BBC One or BBC Two money, I don't know how you do this. But if this is the big announcement that Ben Shalom is going to be making, BBC iPlayer, he's going to need some great financial backers. And it could possibly work. The potential reach is huge. But it must be 20 years since the BBC finished with boxing. A lot has changed since then. You just got to look at the quality of the Channel 5 cards. Their biggest headliner is Josh Kelly. Say no more. Eubank Jr. is probably going to be fighting on DAZN next, rematching Conor Benn. What big name fighters do they have to launch a platform like BBC iPlayer? From what I'm reading, Buatsi's boxer contract ran out in February. But obviously he didn't want to resign and he's took his time to look over his options. And now he's making his move. He'll be looking at the winner of Yard versus Benavides, a shot at the winner between Bivol and Beterbiev whenever that happens. Perhaps a rematch with Callum Smith. Now they're on the same platform. Not same promotional company, but same platform. And the first fight was really good. Boxers just haven't delivered for the guy. People were walking out of the arena on his debut when he fought the Polish guy. They're walking out the arena. The win against Dan Aziz, that was a good win. But that's the highlight. The opportunities against Willie Hutchinson and Callum Smith were not through Ben Shalom. They were through Riyadh, where he had to work with Queensbury and Matchroom to make them fights. Whereas usually Ben is very insistent about making in-house fights, and that's impeded the progress for his fighters on Boxer.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Up if he's quitting.
What you mean
Stay
after the
down.
first knockdown?
Yeah.
The point I'm making after the second knockdown, when he walks back to his corner,
They threw the towel in.
but he didn't stagger. He walked back.
But they threw the towel in, and the referee stopped the fight. So he walked back to his corner. Watch it back.
Third time Daniel's been accused of quitting. It's almost becoming a habit. Did he quit? I mean, people are saying he quit. The referee waved it off. And they're saying that he didn't stagger when he walked back to his corner. What does that mean? He went down from a hard left hook and his nerves looked frazzled. He took the count. He got back up. The referee waved it off. He walked back to his corner. What do they want him to do? Protest? Would that have made a difference to them believing he quit or not? Daniel is perhaps emotionally challenged. He's not a boxer who expresses himself very well. He has a very introvert persona. So what did you expect him to do? Start waving his hands round and get all animated, asking the referee why he stopped it? That's not Daniel. Daniel has been very dependent on his dad, and to a degree his dad has cloned him. So he doesn't react to things like other human beings would. I think the first shot that hit him in the ear threw his equilibrium out, and them equilibrium shots are no joke. When he went down for the second time, he looked at his old man, didn't he? Then tried to focus on the referee, and he counted him out. In his last 3 wins, his dad was screaming words of encouragement for him to get through Miller, Frank Warren. What fight did Frank get animated at? Was it the Hrgovic fight? He needs to be pumped up. The men he looks up to, Frank Warren and his dad, are integral for why he is where he is. AJ would have still won world titles without Eddie Hearn and without his old man. I question if Daniel would box if it wasn't for his dad's influence. His dad said he's going to let Daniel make his own decisions post-fight because Daniel is always looking for his approval. Daniel can't think for himself. You put Daniel in a real stress situation like that, he's not going to argue with the referee. He doesn't know how to argue or debate. After Usyk beat Fury, Daniel walked in the ring. Usyk, I want my revenge. I want my revenge. I'm going to do it this time. Came in with a whole load of fire. And then Usyk just stared at him and Daniel looked at him like, where's Frank? Where's Frank? Make the fight. Make the fight. Like, the energy was at one level and then dramatically dipped. That's because the cue card ran out of words in his brain. When he called out Hrgovic, Don Charles said they rehearsed it. They rehearsed the video. Without instruction, Daniel is a very basic individual. So he got hit, hurt, buzzed, referee waved it off, and he just walked back to his corner. Okay, he didn't look particularly hurt because he doesn't show emotion. And he is a specimen. Perhaps he recovers from punches pretty well. But when it's a psychological battle where he's getting outboxed by pound for pound, arguably the best fighter in the planet, capitulates. Why didn't Usyk stop AJ? Because when he had him hurt in the 12th of the first fight, he wasn't looking for Eddie Hearn. He wasn't looking for his dad. He wasn't looking for Rob McCracken. He was just trying to work out how he could get through the round. He was still thinking. Same with Fury when he got through the 9th. On the second knockdown, they're saying he looked at his dad. Perhaps, but he just looked like he was looking into vacant space. And this time, there was no saving him. Not his dad, Frank. The last 3 wins he's had, the best wins of his career, the best run of his career, he wasn't on the canvas. He had to fight through some shit, but he wasn't on the canvas. Probably got knocked down in the 5th. And then flashback to the first fight. This is what he did then, and this is what he's going to do now.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
The GWOAT, the quote-unquote self-proclaimed GWOAT, came in full diva mode. Fur coat, showed us a bit of side boobage with a revealing swimwear, accompanied by a boyfriend, Papoose, a very popular rapper, especially in New York. She had Khalila Ali in Claressa's entourage all fight week and on fight night. Muhammad Ali was a player. Ali was a player, and he left many a scorned woman behind him. And Khalila is a bit scorned. She's got beef with Layla, daughter of Veronica Ali. Ali finished his last days on the earth married to LANI Ali. Ali got around. He got around. You know what I mean? So, 15,600 people were in attendance. Apparently the biggest crowd ever in Detroit's history of boxing. The Caesars Arena, Michigan. And 70% of the tickets were purchased by women. You know, Rick Ross walked her out, had these other kids performing songs. Tony Harrison was the chief support. Another Detroit native, former 154-pound world champion, tried to stage a comeback, and he won, but he was on the canvas, but he survived the 1-10 round decision. Claressa, she headlined against New Zealand's LANI Daniels. Claressa weighed in 174.5. LANI weighed in 170. Was it a unification? Is LANI a light heavy or a heavyweight? I think they mixed the two together. Lord knows how they've come up with that. But that's boxing. Daniels was tough, elusive with her upper body, and had good feet. Carried her hands a little too low, a little too often for my liking. Claressa looked a few divisions bigger than her, in all truth. Claressa threw some good body shots, done her fair share of missing, but it was a one-sided fight. Both women had fast hands. LANI came back with some shots, but Claressa was definitely the more complete fighter, sat on her shots a lot better, came forward and at times threw some good combinations. The fight went the distance. Claressa only has 3 stoppages in 17 fights. Claressa is now a promotional free agent. Does she resign with Salita? She's been with the guy for 9 years. She's 30 now. 9-year relationship between promoter and fighter. They would have went through a lot of ups and downs. But it all depends what's best for Claressa. I think a lot of people are probably thinking that MVP are looking at this situation closely. But then again, Claressa seems difficult to work with. So I don't know if they're going to go down that road. Although that's the home of women's boxing, MVP and Netflix. If she stays on DAZN, who's there really for her to fight? You know, like, a lot of people want to see her fight Shadaysha Green. Wasn't Shadaysha on the undercard of Taylor versus Serrano 3? Several fighters have came off DAZN and went over to Netflix, and Shadaysha's one of them. If Claressa wants to make the best and biggest fights like she's saying, she's got to be more accommodating, perhaps come off a little more cooperative with working with other people. The last 3 fights, which have been at light heavy / heavyweight, if you're being honest and being fair, and not just cheerleading for Claressa, these are weight classes where the depleted gene pool in women's boxing really show up. Calling Claressa the greatest, after we've witnessed the trilogy between Katie and Amanda, is a hard sell. At the same time, we've got to congratulate Claressa for being able to attract crowds like that. The title of being the GOAT, though, is a little misleading, in my opinion. Let's see what she does next.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Xander Zayas is probably a little wary of his opponent's punching power. Jorge Garcia is a big 154-pounder. He's seasoned. He beat Charles Conwell last time out, which was a good win. Very good win. And Xander was probably a little wary of getting caught with anything stupid. He's only 22, so he's not sitting on his punches like he needs to. But if he could hold on to the belt for a little while and mature, he could actually become a very good fighter. And he became WBO light middleweight champion, outpointing Jorge Garcia Perez. Boxed, moved, jabbed pretty well. It was a good performance. His Mexican opponent was too flat-footed and was getting beaten to the jab. This was at Madison Square Garden. Top Rank's last card on ESPN. I didn't see the whole of the Shushu Carrington fight, but some say he was a little lackluster. But I have to watch the entirety of the fight to really give you a detailed breakdown. REECE Balloti. Seems like he's been around forever. He's 34 years of age. 20 wins, 15 inside the distance. Took the 6th loss of his pro career. Ryan Garner, 27 years of age. He's now 18-0-0, 9 inside the distance. He entered the ring as the European super featherweight champion. REECE Balloti, he came in there with the British and Commonwealth titles. So Ryan is now the traditional route champion. He's got all the free belts that British promoters like their prospects to collect before they move on to world titles. And it was a dominant performance. Father Time caught up to REECE Balloti. He looked old in there, moving like an old man. It looked like it was going the distance until Ryan found that right cross in the 12th. Followed up, REECE was rocked back onto the ropes, in no position to defend himself, and the fight was stopped. Balloti held his own early, but the cut over his right eye was just what he didn't need. Ryan boxed a lot better than I thought he could. He wouldn't allow REECE to bully him, although REECE a lot more physically stronger than I thought he was actually. Looked like he was hoping to catch Ryan if he gassed out. Ryan picked his punches well all the way through the fight, and it was an excellent win. After losing his pro debut, a 4-rounder, to a very capable fighter making his debut from the amateurs, Aloys Jr. ran up 8 knockouts in 9 wins. And, you know, the conversations start. What level is he at? Can he beat Vidal Riley, the British champion? Is he the new Mike Tyson, some people were asking? Well, he looked like a limited plodder against ELLIS Zorro. He did. The judges gave him the fight by scorecards of 5 and 4 rounds. I didn't know what to make of scoring the fight. I watched the fight in its entirety on the DAZN broadcast, and I watched highlights today. And ELLIS Zorro, basic jab 1-2 and a bit of movement, gave Aloys all types of issues. But then again, ELLIS to me didn't press the action. I'm not sure if he showed enough ambition to warrant a decision. Aloys and Ben Davison, their dialogue in the corner appeared to suggest that they knew they lost the fight without actually saying it. Aloys was apologising to Ben during the intervals because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, or Ben was asking him to do. Aloys definitely doesn't beat Vidal Riley. He'd get schooled. Doesn't beat Chris Billiam-Smith. I don't think he'd beat Chevon Clark. He needs at least 3-4 more fights before he can get him up to that Chevon Clark level and perhaps discuss if he could win a fight like that. World level, the likes of Jai and Zorro, don't even fix your mouth to talk about that. But he's only 22. Same age as XANDER Zayas. Could have just been a bad day at the office. 6 foot used to be a decent height for cruiserweight when the weight limit was 190. I don't want to say he's a small cruiserweight. He's a short cruiserweight. He needs to work at jabbing at the torso, doubling up the jab. His feet do nothing at all in terms of giving his opponent angles. And for now, the hype train stops.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.